Hey there, my name is Michaela, and I'm a 28-year-old mom of 2 girls under 4.
And my name is Patty, a 34-year-old mom of 2 boys also under 4.
And we are the hosts of What's Up Mom, a podcast about kids, friendship, and navigating the always changing world of modern motherhood.
So grab that cold brew or margarita, we don't judge, and crank up those noise-canceling headphones because this week's episode starts now. Hi!
Hi! We're so chipper in the morning.
So chipper in the morning. What does your sweater say?
Alaska.
Just Alaska.
Alaska. So my girlfriend and I went to Target, and I'm like, you know what? I deserve something. You know how the Target does on your brain. And
Yep.
she goes, why don't you get like a nice comfy oversized sweater? So this is from the men's section at Target. It's really cozy, and it's like my everything sweater that I just wear. I've been wearing all. It's like now it's my emotional support sweater. I probably need to wash it.
Yeah. Yes. This will be the sweater you will see me in for the foreseeable future. For anybody that listens outside of our immediate zip codes, we live in Michigan, and it is about to be fucking cold. I like to say November 2nd, November 4th is when we all begin to hermit. We bring out the fuzzy socks, we bring out the blankets, we bring out the sweaters. So I'll be seeing Alaska, I'm sure, until February, and you'll be seeing this sweater, which is like a burgundy, mahogany. It's just
I would
cozy as hell.
say it's burgundy mahogany, both.
Oh, it's soft
It's a
as hell.
mahogany.
It's a hand-me-down from some thrift store. I don't know, but anyway, it's.
Speaking of hand-me-downs, real quick, people are sleeping on the thrift store. I haven't been there in years. I spent $100 the other day. I got like a whole wardrobe full of clothes that were not hardly even worn.
First of all, I don't think anyone's been sleeping on the thrift stores. I feel like the people that are my age, remember, Michaela's 28, 7. Fuck, you say it at the beginning of every single episode, and I still don't remember how old you are. And I'm 34, and all of my friends go to thrift stores all the time, and I'm like, that's not really my thing. I don't want to do that. I'd rather go to TJ Maxx, but maybe I'll hit one up with you. Go to a couple thrift stores and
You can
smell like
find some
mothballs.
gems like with tags on them still. They do smell like golf balls at the thrift store.
It's not golf balls, it's mothballs.
I smell golf balls.
What does a golf ball smell like? Just
Like a dirty golf bag? You ever know what that smells like?
it just smells like grass and beer.
Yeah, you can't wear stuff from the thrift store without washing it because I feel like the entire store has the same scent, and then all of the clothes also have that scent. It's like a vintagey golf ball scent.
It's mothballs, not golf balls, everyone. I just want to point that out. It's definitely not golf balls. And if it is, I don't even know. I don't have any I don't even know how to.
Next question.
Next question. Have you, okay, so I just got back from Antigua. As you know, it was awesome. I'm very tanned. So just imagine like my regular pale self, but just like toasted. And we were there for about 8 days. It was awesome. Unfortunately, I did the thing that I always do when I get bored, and I downloaded TikTok again. And I was scrolling through, and there's like kind of a not great trend. Well, it's a nice trend now, but it started off with a little bit of mom shaming, and I was not about it, and I wanted to just touch on it for just a moment. It has nothing to do with our episode, but have you heard of the 17 diaper mom?
It's come across my feed, but I guess I never went into it deeper. No.
So basically this girl posts like a kind of a vlog or something of her day, and she says, let's go pick up all the diapers that are laying around my house. And
oh, okay. People have been talking about this. Actually.
Yes. So I guess she went around her house, and spoiler, she found 17 diapers. She was picking them all up and putting them into a trash bag. And she posted the video, and it went viral. And lots of moms started out kind of bullying her and saying like, oh, you're just leaving these diapers all around the house. Like your kids live in filth and like all this thing. And I'm watching the original video and I'm like, I can confidently say there's at least 5 diapers / pull-ups hanging around my house right now. But my kid also doesn't go to the bathroom all that much anymore. If you have a newborn, you're changing like 10 to 15 diapers a day. I don't know how old her kid was. But anyway, so people started to get on her about this, and she went viral. She's now dubbed 17 Diaper Mom. And someone took it and spun it and was like, I didn't have 17 diapers, but I had, extreme postpartum rage and I needed to take a break when I needed to. Or I didn't have 17 diapers, but I would drive in my car and, want to drive off the road. And it turned into like a postpartum, like depression, postpartum anxiety support thing. And this is why I don't download TikTok, because I just sit there and cry because all of it just hits me in the feels. But the moral of the story is don't judge other people's experiences, because 17 diapers lying around the house means 17 diaper changes were had. And those kids are being taken care of. And I wouldn't assume it was poop. And even if it was, if you roll up that diaper burrito real good, you don't smell nothing. So that's just my take. I don't know if you have a take on this, but
Have you ever left a poopy diaper in the car?
I haven't.
I know some of you out there have, and I know I'm not the only one. So I'm putting myself on blast, but I remember my trunk is huge. So like when we're out at the park and like Cece needs a diaper change, I'm just going to change her in the trunk. Like it's out of the parking lot, like privacy. But I roll up a diaper, I throw it in the bag's trunk. And then I didn't find it until I went to clean my car like 2 weeks later. It was the peak of summer too. It was like July. I was getting in my car. I'm like, why does it smell so bad in here? Like, did Charlotte pee the car seat? Is there food rotting under the seat? I checked all the seats, and it wasn't until I cleaned the car out fully I found it like in a pocket of the trunk.
That's the most relatable thing I've ever heard you tell me. Like,
that's my 17 diaper story. My children were smelling shit for 2 weeks in the car.
I don't know if I have, like, I don't have one at the top of my brain, but like I just can't watch that anyway. So anyway, I will be deleting TikTok again. So don't send me anymore. I know you've been sending me. Everybody gets really excited when I re-download TikTok. And they're like, here, all of the things we wanted to show you for months. And I'm like, I will be gone soon. So take this moment to really suck it in. What is our topic? Oh, our topic today is how the fuck do you even make mom friends? And I feel like this is a good one for us. I feel like we chat about this on the regular, just about like our mom group. I guess, where do we start? Define a friend. Anyone know what the definition of friend is? Michaela?
No, why don't you tell us, Patty?
Oh my God, so happy that you asked. A person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection. Typically exclusive of sexual or family relationships. You're not my family, and I have mutual affection for you, but not sexually. So we are friends. Congratulations. You can add me into your bucket.
Made it to the list.
You made it to the list. And how did we meet, Michaela? Have we ever talked about this?
No.
Oh my God, this is exciting. Okay. When do you remember meeting me? Ooh, this is so fun. I love talking about this after you've been friends with people for like 3 years. You're like, I thought you were a bitch.
Because I did. I was scared of you. Let's start from the very beginning.
Start from the very beginning.
So I met our mutual friend, Danielle, on Bumble BFF. She had moved into the area. We hit it off quickly. We had a lot in common. And then she got pregnant with her first daughter. And I, shortly after her, got pregnant with my first daughter, but she had hers before I had mine. So I think she went to like Peanut and met you and maybe a couple other people, but Joanne. Okay.
Yep.
And you guys were all friends because you had babies all around the same time. And then I was having trouble with nap time with Charlotte. I couldn't get it together. I couldn't figure it out. And she said, I have a friend who kind of like is really like researching infant sleep. And like she kind of has a really good game plan for her kids. It's working. Like, I can put you in touch with her. And I said, yes, please. And before I even really knew you, like, we got into the group chat together. We talked for a little while. I had been talking about Charlotte's sleep, and you said, okay, I'm coming over. What is your address? Are you home? And the next day I think you had a lot going on that day. You came over and you brought like blackout curtains. You brought a sound machine. You brought a sleep sack. And you said, let me take the baby and put them down. And if it works, I'll show you how I did it. And you did exactly that. And she slept for like, I think she was like 4 months old. So she slept for like 2 hours. I'm like, how did you do that? You're a wizard, Harry. Please explain this to me. And you did. And I followed your advice for sleep. And it worked for Charlotte like to a T. So my first time meeting you was you taking my baby and putting her down for a nap. You walked in, you're like, I will do this for you. Just sit down. Do you need to take a shower? Do you need to take a nap? Like, I got this.
All of the things. That is exactly how I remember hanging out with Michaela the first time. The way that I was introed to her was through our mutual friend, Danielle. And she had just messaged me and said, you know, I have a friend. She's having a rough time with her baby with sleep. Do you think that you could help? And I remember I was in the grocery store when I took this call. I was walking through like the frozen section and I was like, does she need food? Should I make her a lasagna? And she's like, no, like just maybe just the sleep. And I'm like, no, I'm going to make her a lasagna. And so I went through like I didn't end up making her a lasagna, but really we did end up having sushi though.
Yes, we did. I ordered
having sushi. And I'm pretty sure Michaela's like one of those weirdos that orders like chicken rolls or something.
Yes.
So I was like, that's weird. But Charlotte was super easy. I feel like she still sleeps really well for you.
She's such a good sleeper.
So I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's something to this. Stay tuned for my upcoming book of how to get your baby to sleep. JK, I'm not writing any books yet. So, all right. So you meet a friend. Okay. Or you meet a person. Okay. You're not instantly friends. At this point, I'm just someone who's held your baby. And what is like, I guess, this will be a fun one. When do you consider someone a friend? When are you like, oh, I like this person. You know, I can talk to them about anything and they're not going to, you know, leave me flat on their ass. Like, when is that switch? I think it's different.
So I think it's for me, it's as soon as you break a wall with me, like I tell you something I don't tell the general public, or something I don't I'm having trouble in my relationship, or like I'm having trouble as a mom. I'm feeling guilty about this. And then you get that advice, and then that opens up a whole like world of, I can kind of come to this person for like validation, or like, no, you're not a bad mom. Like, that's with the mom friends. It's all about like, I think, connecting and similar feelings and environments when it comes to kids. But it's always like, when I consider someone like a good friend, it's like, I'm probably talking to you more often than I'm talking to my fiance.
Or about the same. Yeah, actually. Yeah. That's a pretty good way to look at it too. I feel like if I'm looking at my phone, actually, I'm going to look at it right now and see who the top 5 text messages on my phone are right now.
I'm today. Number 1.
You are number 1.
Yeah.
It's you, my neighbor, Ashley, our mom group, and Chris. So there you go. Those are the people that I'm in constant contact with. Why is it so hard for people to get to that point these days, especially as a mother? Like, I found, especially during the COVID times, we didn't have the regular ways of going to make friends. You know, you meet a mom at like a Lamaze class and you're both sitting there like heavily pregnant 7 months in, and you're like, oh my God, you know, there's nothing that bonds 2 women together more than talking about how gassy you are during pregnancy. So we didn't really have that. At least I didn't. And the girls that I started kind of the mom group with, we had to bond
because of COVID.
Virtually, right? Yep. Because of COVID. We couldn't meet in public as often. I know that Danielle and I took a chance and we went out for brunch and like sat or yelling at each other over breakfast, basically, but getting to know each other that way. But finding like that person, especially after you've had kids, I feel like is even more tough because everybody's so different in how they parent. And you're like, do I like you? Do my kids like you? Do I like your husband? It's almost like dating. And it's a lot of energy. Like, have you made any friends, I guess, outside of our mom group since having Charlotte? New friends that aren't mothers?
That aren't mothers?
Are or aren't, I guess.
Yes to both, but I have a small circle because I think I can only take so much input. My brain can't, like, if I'm doing something and there's, I want an opinion on it, I want it from like a select few. I don't want it from a bunch of people. I don't really like to, and this is crazy because I have a social media account where a bunch of people give their opinions every day, but my small circle is my small circle. I actually want to touch on like why it's so hard. I was talking to my Nana this morning. I went to visit her and I'm like, why aren't we spending time with people anymore? I think that as a society, we're all so busy. Like Sundays used to be a day where you would hang out, relax, go visit family, go do whatever. And then you'd have evenings. And I think we're all so go, 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 go. And then you have the connection of like social media all the time. We're distracted by a lot of things and it's really hard. You have to actually put effort into friendships now, especially when you have kids. You have to be like, my shit sucks right now, but it seems like my friend's going through a hard time. Like, let me see what they need and see how I can be a friend to them, because that's what a friendship I think is about at the end of the day. And it's getting really hard to do that. So you kind of have to keep your circle small or you get burnt out.
I agree with all that, actually. And I think, too, I don't know if you feel this way, but I think as you get older, the people, your quote unquote small circle, let's say, are officially the people that you have gone to bat for. They've gone to bat for you. They've told you some of their deepest, darkest secrets. And you feel extremely comfortable in, like, I don't know, divulging or confessing some of, like, your failures for the week or your wins, and you don't feel like there's going to be a jealousy where
yes,
like I think that a lot of women immediately are like, oh, well, I think when you're making friends with moms, especially with young children, there's a lot of comparison. So, my first kid didn't talk until he was truthfully 2.5. And going to make a friend with someone who doesn't understand the journey that I had been through for those 2.5 years, getting my child to speech therapy, all of that kind of stuff, I really have to take those comments or her comments or whoever's with a grain of salt, right? A lot of them will immediately go in to try and make sure that you feel better, but it's not going to make you feel better. Or offer advice
that you didn't ask for.
Right. And I have learned in my old age, I have learned that always assume positive intent. They're not coming at you to try and fix everything immediately. They just don't want to give you any negativity because the chances are they want to be your friend. So they'll say, oh, don't worry about it. Boys talk late. And I'm like, well, no, it's not really that easy sort of situation. And I've had people say, oh, so he's nonverbal. And I'm like, no, that's not it either. And, people will kind of dive into those assumptions. And then you kind of feel accidentally offended, I guess. And then you're like, I don't really want to be around this person anymore because what they said kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Boom, X them off your list, move on, thank you, next. So making those types of friends and making new friends that are mothers with all great intentions and best laid plans is so difficult because of that barrier, I think, in my opinion.
And I think that when I first had Charlotte, I was trying to make friendships so that she had friends, not so I had friends. And I think my intention is very different now because my personality is very I know I'm very self-aware. So in a friendship, in a relationship, my love language is words of affirmation. So Patty knows this very well. Hey, Patty, you're kind of quiet today. Like, you haven't talked to me 3 days. Like, are you mad at me? No, Michaela, I'm not mad at you. Okay, thanks. I just needed you to just tell me. Whereas some people, like, that's really freaking annoying. Like, no one wants to have to reassure their friends all the time that, like, they're not mad at them or, like, they didn't do anything wrong. But I'm working on that as a person. But right now, it's still a thing.
Still
so
there.
if I have a friendship and I'm like, I need someone to tell me that I'm being a good mom, like, I need someone to say, like, hey, you're doing a good job. And I know that. So sometimes friendships don't work out because I can't expect everyone to validate me if I can't validate myself, right? But some people have a little more patience for it. Those are my friends.
I think I sent Michaela like a message maybe 3 weeks ago, and it just said, I love you, with a big emoji, and she didn't respond at all. And I'm like, she just needed to hear it. It's fine. I don't need a response.
It's probably really true.
What am I?
But I was making
words of affirmation.
I was making friends, like, to make sure that Charlotte had people to grow up with. And I was trying to create a circle that didn't exist for me, but for her. And I slowly started to realize, like, these people, as kind and generous as they are, I don't think we mesh very well to be like long-term friends. So there's a couple people that I don't talk to, but like if they ever needed anything, I would totally be there. If they ever want to hang out, sure. But again, small circles. So I definitely like, I value my time with the people that I really want to hang out with, I guess.
I think too, I think you hit the nail on the head there too, is, okay, my kid's going to school now. He's going to preschool. He's meeting all these new kids. I went into the school night curriculum like, all right, I'm going to make a whole bunch of friends. I'm going to be the talkative mom. I'm going to be so excited. And I sat in the corner of the park and I was having internal freakouts because I didn't want to be judged.
Is
right?
This when you wish that they served wine at the event?
Yes. Okay. This is when I word vomited to a giant group of women. It was like, they should serve wine at these things. So in that area, I realize now that it's not, I can make as many friends as I could possibly want. And, we can hang out with their children and whatever, but there's going to be a year where it flips and Lorenzo and Raphael will start to make those decisions. And they're like, I don't want to go hang out with X and O today. I don't like them anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to force you, I'll go hang out with his mom alone. And I realized that my parents used to do that. Like, there were definitely people that, I was not friends with, but my parents were friends with their friends. But it was when we were older, right? So if you had to go and make a mom friend right now, okay, you had to drop absolutely everything and make an instant connection, an instant friend, where would you go? How would you do it?
Wow, loaded question. Gosh,
yeah,
if you put me on a mission to like have a play date with someone by next week, I would probably go to my local library. I have a good time because when the kids are playing like with all the library stuff and my child approaches another child or vice versa, you kind of almost have to communicate with the other parent. So you kind of force people to talk to you when you're out in public when their kids have to interact with each other. And the library, mostly because I have the kids during the week, during the day. So I know if there's another mom there with their kids, they're either also a stay-at-home mother or they have like weekdays off. And it's really hard for me to be friends with people who work all the time because our schedules are completely flopped. So that's where I would start. And I actually have a couple phone numbers from people I've met out in the wild. I'm like, oh, we should plan something. And then they're just in the phone for like, I don't know, forever. Yeah.
Yep. They're just forever.
And it's not for lack of like wanting to hang out. It's for lack of time or that initial, like you have to want to put effort into the beginning of a friendship because if you don't, it's going to fail.
And that's for every friendship, not just mom friendships as well.
That's right. Yes.
Right. I want to go back to you picking the library. I think that the library for moms and their children is exactly what the dog park is for dog owners because you just let the kids run off and play in the fields and the dogs go and sniff each other's butts and you're like, oh, what kind of dog do you have? And there's a discussion and
we should go for a walk sometime.
We should go for a walk someday. Give me your number. And then it sits there forever. So it's the exact same thing. So dog moms, I see you. I used to be one. I used to be a lot more involved in my dog's life. Now he just sits by me and I pet him with my foot. So you would go to the library. Where would I go? See, I'm terrible at approaching people in public, so this is a very difficult task for me. Chris,
that really surprises me, actually.
Everyone
you're Chatty
says
McAfee.
Every single Chatty McAfee. We really need to start a freaking merch store. I'm just gonna come talk to me. I'm Chatty McAfee.
I'll work on it. Season 2.
So I think I would go. I'd go to like. There's a place up here in Birmingham called the Fascination Factory, and it's like a STEM.
It's where the ritzy people go with their kids. It's really wonderful. It's really cool lovely. In there.
Yes, it is beautiful in there. I will say that I like to go there because I can see the kids. They're contained, and I don't have to be anxious the entire time. Whereas like a play place, I'm like, are my kids halfway to Timbuktu at this point? Like, I can't see them. Are they buried in the ball pit? I have no idea. But the STEM place, I'm like, oh, they're just building a train over there, and I can talk to this mom on this comfortable couch and have Wi-Fi. So that's probably where I would go. But I cannot meet cute anyone. Like, I am not the aggressor in any relationship. If you want to come to me, I will chat with you all day. But if I need to go and introduce myself to someone, I'm like, do I go now? There's a lull. Should I go shake hands? Should I just butt in? Like, I don't know how to have those conversations. So a lot of the time, the only way that I know how to do it now is I'm just going to sit right here at this table with you guys, okay? And they can't say no a lot of the time. So I'm like.
And then if they initiate the conversation, great. If not, you're just sitting there.
Yeah. And I'd be awkward anyway, sitting alone. So I'm just going to be the weirdo that comes into your conversation to try and make friends. But if you approach me, it's a completely different situation. It's so much easier for me because it's That's like almost like you started it. So like you must want to talk to me. And it just makes it a little bit easier. I have kept the same friends that I've had from high school. A couple of them are becoming parents now. And I love watching them become like first-time moms, first-time dads, whatever. And I laugh because I don't think it's really hard for me now to make a friend with a mom that has a newborn, like the first kid, first newborn. Because I don't know if you've done this before. Yes. I am not. She's like, yes, I know what you're about to fucking say. We love our new moms, okay? If you are a new mom and you are listening to this podcast, we absolutely love you. We want to wrap our big,
I want to give you the biggest hug,
mommy arms right around you. We know you're fucking going through it. But I love it when someone is like, oh, my kid is only going to eat from a wooden spoon their entire lives. And I'm like, yeah? Why is that?
That was me, Patty. This was me.
Wooden spoon?
Yeah. Yes, actually. Bamboo spoons.
Oh, fuck. I was making that up. I've never heard of this
stainless steel now, but yes.
Well, I've stainless
best laid
steel.
plans.
But why bamboo?
Just it's easy to clean, porous. You can't give an infant a stainless steel fork. So, a little bamboo one was less dangerous.
I'm making a face right now because I absolutely gave my baby led weaning child a fork.
I know you did. I mean, I can't. You can.
Understood.
I could not.
Got you. Okay,
I pictured the fork into the eye. So then I had to no forks.
Oh my God.
Intrusive thoughts.
Grandparent on the freaking
people
planet
are getting
right now.
to know me right now. They're like, yeah, that makes sense.
You are every single grandparent on the planet. You can't.
That's great.
That's sharp.
A metal fork?
I'm like, what do you think they're gonna do? Go boink like right into their eyeball? Yes, apparently. So anyway, going back to the newborn moms, we love you so much. We hope that your newborn experience is blissful and beautiful and you have the easiest thing and they sleep for you. But my God, when you say things like, oh, they're just, I'm going to carve a knife out of a rock for them and that's what they'll use till they're 18. And you're like, and here's the thing though. If I am meeting that person for the first time and they say something, I know what to say now. I'm like, oh, wow. Interesting. Why? And kind of like get their background as to why. And I'm like, that sounds great. Let me know how it works out. And then if this person decides to stay in my life or become my friend and, you know, the barrier is broken, I can then 2 years later be like, remember when you wanted your kid to eat with a rock? I do. And like that kid's already throwing around stainless steel forks. And I'm like, Now,
and then you get to laugh about it a little bit.
And then you get to laugh about it. And you're like, that was funny. Your kid was Fred Flintstone. And you can have a good little laugh about it over some wine. Currently I'm partaking in a TV detox. And I know my legacy moms are looking down on me right now and be like, see how long that lasts. And it has lasted. It's lasted a month. So anyone who doubted me, now, did they have the tablet in the car? Absolutely. But we've not had any television at home for almost a month now. And that is a goal worth spreading. So cheer for your mom friends when they do get their goals done, and make fun of them later when they make their kids eat with rocks. Thank you so much.
How many mom friends did you meet on Peanut? Because that's an app you can download. And I didn't have any success with it. I don't think I met a single person. But I know people do. So like if you're an introvert and you're not going to go to the library, like if you have to start a conversation digitally, like is that a good resource?
So I think that Peanut, which is an app that you can download, iPhone, Android, whatever, it's all for moms. So it is just mothers on there. Dads, I don't know if there's an app out there for you. If you're listening to this in the background of the kitchen right now, the dishes need to be done. So go help your wife. But I think that app specifically is lovely for introverts because you can easily start up a conversation and not worry about like body language. Does my breath smell? You know, like, are my eyebrows done? And there's no immediate judgment from the girl world, I guess you could say. So it was very easy for me to talk to Danielle when I first met her. We were within weeks of each other pregnant, and you can just get to know someone very rapid fire quick. And then if it works out, you go in public and you go on a little brunch date. It is legitimately like dating. And there's a swipe left, a swipe right. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's literally Tinder for new moms, older moms, whatever. So I would suggest it. It does take just as much effort as dating does, from what I understand.
Like, especially that initial like 20, 30 message conversation, you have to put the work in. And then you decide if it's worth pursuing a friendship or not. And it's just like dating. You go on to the next one, on to the next one.
And I will tell you that the moment that you meet you just need to meet one new person, and that opens you up to their friend group and vice versa. So now you're meeting a whole bunch of new people. When me and Michaela met, it was just our mom friends. And then Michaela came over to my house for like a wine night or something with two of my girlfriends who don't have kids. And now we're all friends. And, Michaela went out with those friends to the Renaissance Center without me. And I was like, this is amazing. We're creating the friend group. Like the big friend group is starting to generate. And
I never had that, by the way. Right. Like in high school and college, I never had more than like 2 or 3 people. So this is pretty life-changing. And yeah, that's like good. When you meet people, you meet their people. So exactly. I like how you put that.
All you need is to just meet one person, and it opens up their world to yours, and you immediately become meshed. And like I did that with you. I did that with a lot of the mom friends as well. I did that with my neighbor. And suddenly you feel like you have just a little bit more of that village that we all crave, right? You just kind of want to say, if I have to go pick up Lorenzo at preschool and I don't want to load Raphael into the car, Ashley will walk the 10 steps over here and come watch him for 15 minutes. And you're like, it's just the little things that help out, and the friendships that you start to create. It just adds a new level of almost ease to your life a little bit. So
I have a question. Does your spouse and your friend's spouse, like if they get along or not, or if they, does this affect your like friendship making with your friends? Is like having a friend whose partner and your partner get along, does that play a big part in like who you surround yourself with?
Absolutely. And I do think it's very hard for men to make friends. And especially,
what is that? Why is that?
I don't know.
Is it the testosterone? Is it like a psychological, like, oh, I'm more of a man than that man is? Like, is it?
No, I would say it's more so that they can't break down that barrier as well as women can. So like, I can tell you something super vulnerable and be like, oh, I don't know. I picked up some fruit snacks today that had red dye 40. I feel like a terrible mom, and I fed them to my kids, and I feel awful.
Talk about golf and cars and sports, and okay, so they don't connect on that level like ever.
I mean, I could ask, but I've seen Chris have, I'm going to say play dates, but that's the wrong word. I'm going to say I've seen his friends come over and like hang out, and like it's just silent, and they're just watching a game, and I'm like, do you guys like? Now, there's a certain amount of comfortability that I do almost envy, because how often can you do that with a friend? Just sit in fucking complete silence and be completely comfortable.
And it's funny, like if Derek's hanging out with a friend who has a wife, I'm like, oh, how are they doing? I don't know. How's their kid? I don't know. We didn't talk about it. What do you mean you didn't talk about it? They just had a baby. Yeah. You didn't talk about the new baby they had.
There is like, no tea.
And I think that when the mom group, all of us hang out and the husbands come, they can be cordial. I don't think they're all like buddy friends, but they can find things to talk about for our sake. I think that's important.
We need to shove them all into the basement and just be like, here, go find something in common and see what happens. Like, let's play some icebreaker.
We can set them up on a play date. We'll pretend like we're all coming, and then it's just the men. and then we can have them in those TikToks. We can have them all wear the same shirt.
I've done that before. I have orchestrated that for a Friendsgiving, and it was one of the fucking greatest things ever. I think for our man play date, we're going to set up all of those foldable lawn chairs in a garage in the cold, in a circle with a tiny little bonfire in the middle. We're going to get like half open bags of chips and like an odd.
We have them all bring their own like alcohol beverage of choice, and they all pass like it around. And
yeah. God, is this happening?
And then we can have them go house to house doing improvement projects on each person's house. Could you imagine the group of 6 men just going house to house? Oh, the bathroom needs to be done. Oh, the kitchen light needs to be replaced. That'd be amazing.
Oh my God. Here we are talking about how to get our husbands friends, and we're struggling to get our own, but it's fine. We'll just set them up so that I tell Chris all the time, I'm like, go make friends and then bring me one of the weak mothers and she can come over and talk to me. And he's like, what do you mean weak mothers? I'm like, just one of the quieter ones, And he's like, okay. No, I wouldn't want that at all. I don't enjoy being forced to hang out with anyone I don't want to hang out with. So Chris, don't do that. If you hear this, I'd like to choose my own friends. But that's hilarious.
So what happens when you have a mom friend and you hang out with their kids and your kids just don't get along? What do you do?
Cry.
Because at this age, I feel like they're finding their people, like age 3, age 4. They're finding their personality. You have some kids that are coming out to be the leaders of the pack. Some kids that are not that much. They kind of just follow what the other kids do. And these kids maybe bump heads, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like they can't play together. I think maybe those barriers need to be worked out, whether they're at school or at home with you. Those situations are going to happen, but at what point are you like, our kids aren't really compatible?
Oh my God, that's a tough question.
Is it like when there's physical violence, or when your kid's like, hey mom, like I don't want to go, like you said, like if your kid doesn't want to go play, you're not going to force them.
Either or, for sure. I find that Lorenzo really will verbalize who he wants to see. Like, he came home from school on Tuesday and he was beside himself upset because he, for some reason, thought that he was going to our friend's house and to see her daughter. And he was screaming her name and was just upset as all hell for at least half an hour. And I'm like, who the heck told you we were going over there? Like, we weren't going, had no plans to. But sure as shit, man, I texted that mom immediately and I was like, my kid is literally crying to see your kid. Can we set up a date? You know, and I've been friends with her for 7, 8 years now, and my husband's friends with her husband. So it's like, it's an easy fix, right? And I have noticed, like, you know, we've hung out with a couple of friends from Lorenzo's older school, and he kept asking, like, I really want to play with this one boy. I want to play with this one boy. Can he come over? Blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, sure. And I had sent over, you know, kind of a request for play date, if you so will. And I didn't get a response immediately, but I really respect why. She had messaged me and she said, you know, my son wasn't talking about your son the way that your son was talking about mine. And I'm like, that is such a good way to be like, you know, I was just kind of waiting for the relationship to flourish on our side. And it did. So, you know, eventually we've hung out a couple of times. We're going to the Detroit Symphony Orchestra with them for Tot Day. So I'm excited about that. And Lorenzo loves hanging out with this one boy. But I don't know what to do. I don't know what I would do if suddenly that relationship just fizzled, where Lorenzo, oh, I don't want to go hang out with them. It's like, oh gosh, well, I was creating a relationship too, and that's sad for me now. You know,
do you put him first? Probably, right? Like,
absolutely. Now,
and then you hang out on the side, and maybe someday in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Go out for drinks or something like that with them, and you know, do it separately from the kids. That's fine. I don't know what I would do. We obviously have not gotten to that bridge yet, or maybe you have.
I've gotten in situations with my kids and other children where I'm like, I don't really like the behavior that's being on display here, and my reservation is more with the parenting than it is with the child. So that's something I think we're all going to come to that bridge when we get there, of the way that you're handling the situation with your child is the way you want to handle it, and you're their parent, and that is valid. But if it's not something, like, if it's not a way that I'm going to handle it, and I think that my child is, this is a really hard thing to explain. But
it really is.
Like, the discipline, let's come from a disciplinary standpoint. There are people who discipline one way. There are people who discipline another way. Charlotte doesn't like when people raise their voices. She gets really freaked out, and so does Cece. Like, they don't respond well to yelling. So if we're hanging out with you and you're just yelling at your kid, my kids are going to kind of be uncomfortable, and that's not a situation I'm going to put them in. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to kind of like raise your voice and like settle down, but it's another thing to, like, every time they're doing something you don't like, to yell at them. My kids don't take to that very well, and I think it affects their ability to play in that space because they don't want to get yelled at. So it's not a situation I'm going to put my kids in, and I have had to be like, you know, well, it's time to go, or, you know, we can't, we're going to get going here. And that's hard because I don't want to, but I'm going to protect the energy of my kids overall.
It's interesting, like, making a mom friend, I don't know if I would call it a selfish task, but I want to connect with someone that has a similar lifestyle that I do at this moment in time, right? I want the understanding from a mother that knows, hey, I know we had a play date planned, but my kid has the sniffles. Do you mind if we reschedule? And there's no hurt on either side. And I think once you find that person, it's really hard to let go and go to look for somebody else. And like, that's what, you know, you and I have, that's what our mom group has. But looking for that outside of what we've already created is like, so difficult. So I know that this episode was called, or is called, How the Hell Do You Make Mom Friends? And the resounding answer that I think both of us could probably agree on is, holy shit, we still don't have any idea, because we are trying out here. It is tough as fuck. But
do you know how I met? Yes, once you find one, that's it. That's all you need. Did I tell you the story about how I met my friend Shaylee?
No.
Her daughter's the same age as Charlotte. She had a second daughter who's pretty similar in age to Cece. We have a lot in common. She walked into my dad's computer store to get her computer fixed. And she was pregnant and she had her first daughter. And he's like, you look the same age as my daughter. And she looks the same age as my granddaughter. And you're about to have another one? You should friend her on Facebook. So she did. And we connected instantly. And we've been really close. So like maybe, I don't know, send your dad out there, send your mom out there to be your wingman. Let them find somebody, because you know what? At the end of the day, your parents know you better than anyone else. So the fact that he's like, I found somebody, I think you guys could be good friends. I trusted that because he knows who the kind of people I want to surround myself with. But was like a blessing, and it just kind of walked into my life.
Dude, Grandpa setting people up.
He's really great, my grandpa.
Oh my gosh, unreal. I don't think that my parents did that, like set me up on dates with kids. Maybe they did, but I'm definitely not friends with them anymore. So I don't know if that really worked out. But the moral of the story here is that turns out you actually can't find people in the wild. You need your parents to set you up on dates. You also need to be in your phone for close to 3 or 4 days talking to someone virtually before you get the courage to ask them to go out for coffee. And the park is a great place to find people, but only if you can talk to people in public, which is not. And only if you can talk to people while jogging around the playscape. Yeah, right, exactly. Yelling to them like, "How old's your kid?" One kid's like, and then they're like, "Mommy, I gotta go." You get into like a 15-minute conversation. They're like, "Mommy, I gotta go potty." You're like, "Okay, bye. See you later." It was nice to meet you. I'm trying to like really talk to both kids about Mommy's having a conversation right now, because it is the biggest trigger. Do you remember when your mom did that to you? She's like, did your mom ever? I love you, Mom. I know you're listening, but there were times where we're like, okay, everyone's getting ready to leave the friend's house. Everyone's in the car. Everyone's buckled in. Dad's in the car. Mom's still chit-chatting away for like 20 minutes, and Dad's getting frustrated. We're all getting antsy. And you're like, let's go, Mommy. But now I get it. Like I'm having a conversation. It's a great one. So you're gonna have to wait. Chillax, right? I love this episode. This was great. Oh, I wanted to give the listeners a quick update. I just ordered my food sensitivity test, and I know I spoke to everybody about this a couple weeks back. I'm very excited. I'm going to take it in a week, and we're going to find out if Patty needs to be gluten-free. I'm pretty sure I can probably guarantee you that yes, you probably should. Yes. I know it's going to be terrible. Also on the food note, if you guys have any internal qualms with how the United States is processing food and artificial colorings, there is a great petition that you should go and sign. We will link it in the show notes. And it is just talking about how sucks that we get artificial coloring here in the US, but every other country gets natural things. Michaela could probably talk a little bit more about that. We'd probably have a whole episode about it in season 2. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. All right, well, we'll put the petition in there and go sign it because I said so. And yes. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think you can force people to sign a petition. I think it's like probably bordering in the line of like coercion. But if you would like to, we would link it in the show notes. But do it. Do it. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Hit the subscribe, follow, like button. And just so everyone knows, we are about to hit a milestone in followers on all of our social media listening platforms. So if you're the person that puts us over that milestone, kudos to you. I'm going to find you. I don't think that they publicly announce who follows you, but we'll find you. We'll find you. Just like we're going to get you to sign the petition. So leave us a comment on any of our socials. We love hearing from you guys. What do we have next week, Michaela? We're going to open it up to the general public. Do a fun little Ask Us Anything at all. Oh my God. And ask us what is it? Ask us anything, AKA, ask right? Us anything. Yes. All right. Ask us anything. Ask us. AMA. AUA. Ask Me Anything, but it's us, so it's AUS. Gotcha. Ask Us Anything episode next week. Stay tuned on our socials to submit your questions. We are going to be reading as many as we possibly can. It's going to be super fun and super ad-libbed, which is my favorite thing. And Michaela will get to laugh at some of my responses, and I'll laugh at some of hers. We all hope that you had a great laugh, learned something. Pop in next week. And for all of you that need this reminder, the washer needs to be put into the dryer. Have a great rest of the week.
Goodbye.
Bye.